Okay, today, day 4 of zoology, we also did 5 levels of organization of life. You don't have any notes to actually write this on. You're just going to put it on the next blank page in your zoology notebook, okay? It'll go on the next page. Somebody's going to have to send me an email. When I hold something up like this, do you see it the way it is, or do you see it backwards? Okay, thanks. I'd like to know that. It's probably backwards. So in your notes, it's going to look something like this in the end, okay? I can move it over here. It'll look something like that. You'll end up with a smaller box at the bottom and build up to the top a larger box, okay? And don't worry, we'll go through all the words and you're going to add some little notes here and there. So I would use your notebook and turn it sideways and then do your notes this way today, okay? So the 5 levels of organization of life, quickly, you don't need to write them down right now because we're going to go each one of them separately. We've got the cell, which then makes tissues, which then makes organ systems, which makes up the organism. So for each one, each breakdown, let's start with the cell. Hopefully you've already did the cell theory, so you know about a cell, right? The cell is the basic unit and structure of a function of a living thing. Just write under cell, the basic unit of life. Cells are specialized by their size and shape for the job that they're going to do, okay? Next to your little cell down here, I want you to draw a picture of a cell. And so since we've already, and you don't have to be real specific about the lysosomes and the ribosomes and the Golgi apparatus and all that stuff, because right, well, you know how to do that. You should know how to do that. But just do a cell, maybe a nucleus, so that you get the idea that that is what a cell looks like, okay? Here is a picture of an amoeba. Amoeba is actually it's a one cell, but it is alive, okay? And it has everything it needs to do to function as a living organism in one cell. Pretty amazing, really cool. We'll study them too. And then here is just an example of the animal cell, kind of exactly like the picture we put in our notes before, okay? So the next box is tissues. As we build up, those cells make tissues. So tissues are made up of the same type of cells, and they're grouped together to do a specific job. So somehow next to the box that says tissues, a box of tissues, draw something that will remind you of tissues. So there are 4 different types of animal tissues. We have epithelial, which is skin cells or an outer layer. We have muscle tissue, nervous tissue, which is like makes up brain and spinal cord stuff, right? Nerves. And then connective tissue, which is the bones and tendons, okay? So what is it? Cartilage, okay? Part of connective tissue. So here's a picture of a pink sponge. The sponge has only cells. It's not really organized into true tissues. What's really interesting about a sponge is like if you put it in a sieve and squish it all down, you're not really hurting it because there's really not much to it. What happens in a few days is those cells will then come back together and make a sponge again. So it's not like you're putting a bug in a sieve and squishing it into a million little pieces and then expect that bug to come back to life. So because these cells aren't made of true like tissues and stuff, it just makes a sponge again. Pretty crazy to think at one point it's alive and living, right? This other picture is a blue man of war. It has tissues but no organs, okay? Well, when we study more about that particular organism, you'll learn why. So pretty interesting. Next box is organs. So organs are made up of different tissues that work together to do a job, okay? So you can see everything just builds. So this here is a picture of a heart, okay? And a heart is an organ made up of all 4 types of tissues. We have epithelial or muscle connective and nervous tissue all in there. Pretty cool to think about that. It's all in there. This in the middle, that is a coral polyp. That is an organ, a piece of an organ from a coral. And then up to the left, you have or the right for you, I don't know which. There's a leaf. A leaf is an actual organ of a plant. A plant is living, and it has organs to help complete certain jobs to keep that plant alive. The next box is organ system. So organ system is a group of organs working together. Examples, ones that you're very familiar with, would be human organ systems, right? So humans have 11 organ systems, including circulatory, reproductive, digestive, nervous, respiratory. There's immune, there's endocrine system, integumentary system, the skin. Okay, so, and skeletal and muscle. So those are all different organ systems where you have specific organs working together. A plant, as we said before, is alive, and it has organ systems also. So our transport system that transports nutrients through our body is our circulatory system, right through the blood. A plant has a transport system too. So it includes roots, stems, leaves, and so, you know, it pulls nutrients and water up through the roots, gets it through the system and out towards the leaves. So it's interesting. I think it's really fun to think of a plant comparing it to humans. I mean, it's alive too, and it has organ systems. And then last, once you put all of that together, those organ systems can be put together in very complicated ways, and we get an organism. Organism that can grow big, can think. So it's just amazing to think that it all does start with one teeny little cell, huh? So the sum of all tissues, organs, and organ systems makes up an organism. Every living thing has some sort of cells, tissues, organs, and organ systems. They might not have them all, but this is how complex things get in life. And here's us with our bodies that can do amazing things. There we go. It'll be fun. So we start off with very simple animals, the one-celled animals, and then we get to the point where we're studying chordates. So the whole last quarter, we're just studying chordates, so animals with backbones. That'll be really fun because I was really hoping to do it this last year. I noticed when I taught, we spent a lot more time probably on some phylums that we didn't need to, some of the worms and stuff, even though it's pretty fascinating, and I'll make sure you know it's fascinating. But we're going to go through them quickly so that we can get to the chordates at the end of the year and do a lot more fun stuff with birds and reptiles and amphibians and mammals and, what am I missing? Birds, amphibians, reptiles, mammals, fishes, the fishes, yep. Okay, so that's going to be one whole quarter. It'll be way fun. We're also planning on going to the aquarium in May, and I am trying to get on for the zoo, so hang in there. We'll see if we can get to the zoo this year too. Love y'all. Hope you're doing good. Check in with me. If you're not checking in on our Google Meets, I need to hear from you, and I need to at least do a one-on-one with you every now and then so I know you're being taken care of, okay? I want this to be a good experience for you. So Google Meets, we're getting more and more students on our Google Meets. When you do come in, we'll just have you mute, and then I might ask people to say certain things, and we'll have you join the conversation as you can, okay? But this should be interactive for you too, as much as you want it to be. Love you. See you next time.